bell suddenly went up. So don't you think they would have investigated something happening here and shut it down? Dika queried. That's what usually happens, but in this case, no one noticed because those living in the area aren't being billed for it. But the raw meter reading she'd gotten her digital fingers on didn't lie. Whatever is sucking up the juice was still at it as of 2 days ago. Addie couldn't help a satisfied smile at her awesome sleuthing skills. Dika shook her head instead of being impressed. How do you know these things? Because Addie knew where to poke her nose. You may bow before my greatness. You wish. So let's say I believe you, and there is something sucking the power. Dika made obscene slurping noises because she lacked technique. Then, where is it? This place doesn't have any other buildings large enough to house another lab. Not a secret one, at any rate. It's here, Addie pointed. I'll bet you a case of Twinkies, from her precious hoard, that this place has an underground lab just like that Bitek place did in Florida. And how do you plan to get into it? The military sealed off the building. Watch and learn, dear cousin. With a move a gymnast would applaud, Addie did a loop on her branch and dropped out of the tree, landing with her knees slightly bent and her arms outflung in a flourish. Style couldn't be ignored. With a tilt of her head, Addie addressed her cousin still perched above. Are you coming, or will any treasures I find belong to me alone? Heifer, you'd better share. I gave up a season premiere with that hunky demon fellow to follow your ass. Addie blew a spraying wet raspberry. Oh, please, you never watched live television anymore. And besides, even you have to admit this is much more exciting. We aren't getting any younger. Tick-tock. Soon, she'd find herself grounded and bored. Throwing herself backwards off the branch, Dika flipped in the air and landed on her feet. And the crowd goes fucking wild, she crowed, holding her hands in the air and cheering. It would be more impressive if it was a rare gift. However, all the dragonesses in the Silvergrace family possessed agility and grace. In order to keep themselves in shape, they had a ballroom at home with swings at impossible heights that they practiced leaping from, and no nets to catch them. Aunt Yolanda always had splints on hand for the few times they'd failed as youngsters. Even the most painful break didn't frighten them off. They got right back up there, swinging and leaping. Even in a cast, the girls would practice, because as her mother said when Addie's sister Amy dared to complain, think of the cast as the weight of your enemy clinging to you. He will try to bring you down. You must adjust for this, and then crush him. Crack. She could still hear the smack of her mother's fist against her palm. Welcome to Addie's world. Her mother didn't bake cookies, drive them to soccer practice, or belong to the PTA. Her mother was cutthroat in real life and in business. Not that anyone ever found the bodies. What bodies? Investigations never turned up anything. And so what if the convenient disappearances meant that their empire grew? Mommy Dearest protected the family. It was the most treasured thing in her hoard. Hashtag, don't fuck with family. Addie bent over and grabbed the bag she'd stashed at the foot of the tree. I brought a few tools to give us a hand getting inside. I don't suppose you've got a ladder in your bag of tricks. No, but I do have rope. She patted the heavy canvas sack and grinned. I've also got handcuffs, in case we get lucky. Throw in some lube and it's a party, Dika muttered. Speaking of, let's get this party started. Restraining an urge to whistle, Addie headed toward their target. The first layer of protection was a 10-foot stone wall. Dika knelt and offered a hand to spring Addie. She stepped lightly into her cousin's laced fingers, and as she was propelled upward, she grabbed the rough lip of the barricade and hoisted herself onto it. As she sat up, the bag swished past her face, narrowly missing her. It hit with a thump on the other side.